I'm Kiwi,
And I'm Jarad.
and we are the two gentlemen. Coming to you as sure as the sun rises. Jarad, how are you, mate?
Good, good. It's been a few good sunrises lately. So, yeah, it's been nice weather. So, good start there, buddy. Good start. Very topical.
It's amazing that once the sun starts shining again, you start feeling different, don't you? Oh, we just had so much rain, so much cloud. You almost
Mm.
forget what a blue sky looks like. And then when it comes, it's like you just take it for granted. So I was very happy yesterday, working on
Mm.
the northern beaches of Sydney and having beautiful blue sky behind me. It was lovely.
It was a great day, wasn't it? It was one of those ones I just like, even when you're I was just at home and I was just like, this is awesome. I just wanted time outside because, like you said, I think we just had so much grey and things that, days that were a bit sort of glum. It was during the school holidays, which is always wonderful. But we had to actually, school holidays were filled with going to, little activity centres and bowling and all these indoor stuff because we couldn't do anything. Had to go to the shop so many times, just to keep the kids occupied. But just reminded me of the anxiety that you cop when you're in one. Well, I do anyway. When I'm in one of those play centres and there's like a million kids, and you just send them off into this massive play centre that goes up to, like, it's usually in an industrial unit or something.
Yeah.
The ceilings are 100 foot high, and you're like, you lose your kid for an hour and a half, and for me, it's terrible. It's the worst. My anxiety levels when I finish. The kids come running out and goes, "That's the best time ever," and I'm like, "That was the worst time." So isn't it amazing? The worst things that my experience is the polar opposite to theirs. But that was my school holiday. When it's not when it's raining, you have to make do, and so there's plenty of those centres around, and I'm sure parents feel the same. But it's a tough gig.
It's funny, the term first world problems, and you think about us having some bad weather, and that's the thing that you dread, the play centre where your child might disappear in a ball pit or something.
I know, right? I know. Puts it in perspective.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah, it's I mean, look, family time's important though. Like it's something you got to manage. The bigger your family is, but what do you think about like as a parent being, I don't know, we tend to, which is part of the deal, we tend to give everything we can to our children, which is fine. But, sometimes we need do we need a bit of time away sometimes with our partners or on our own, or do we need to buy ourselves the latest, latest pair of shoes or something every now and then, like, I don't know. Is that something that's high on the priority list as a parent? I'm not sure. What do you think?
I think in life, you can only get what you can. That's it. So if we had personal assistants and cleaners, Jarad, we'd be able to get away a bit more and do other things. Yep. For example, for me, surfing. That's something I haven't done after work for since COVID, really. So probably 2.5 years. Yep. I used to, after Wednesday morning, my shift would finish at, say, 9:30 or 10, straight down to Freshwater Beach, have a surf maybe for an hour. There were times where I had time to actually go and check the surf at different breaks. And then, I might be home by 1:00 or something. But the kids were much younger then. Now their needs have changed so much, and I need to be there for them. So, you know what? I don't know what we're entitled to, Jarad, as parents. I think you sign away so many of your rights once you decide to have children. And I think that's the way it's got to work.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. There's a part of me though that, I mean, personally, I've always liked my my time alone, whether it be an hour, just ducking down. These days, it's like an hour ducking down to the shops to grab some stuff, or I think I've said it previously, hang out the washing. They're the little small things. But I mean, I do believe that, as a parent or as a family person, whether it be yourself and your partner or on your own, like, I think a little bit of time away is required. and I'm not talking like going, overseas trips or anything like that, but just, like I said, an afternoon out or, date night with your partner, things like that to refresh. But how do you, well, for me anyway, I struggle I feel that, I'm being a bit selfish if I do something like that. Like, is that something that you would feel, or is that something that you think is prevalent around? I don't know, but I know that I get a little bit guilty at the end of whatever I've done, and it's completely, there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. It's just, what's wrong is the fact that I'm away from my family.
Yeah, definitely nothing wrong with it, Jarad, but the guilt is completely understandable and totally normal. I think every parent feels it. And I was talking to Erica yesterday, and her dad, who's, 76 or something like that, 77, has just bought himself a proper cello for the first time in his life at that age.
You're right.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful instrument. I suggest everybody go and listen to a cello one day, not just the Jaws theme, but other stuff too. You don't have to start that highbrow. Look, I couldn't imagine buying myself a guitar at the moment. A really good guitar, which is only like $1,000. That's not huge. That's a pretty standard price for an item of value.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm playing a friend's guitar that she's handed down to me. I think I could do with a new one. Before that, I was playing with one from the council pickup.
Yep.
After that, after that, I got another one from the council pickup, which was actually brand new, but in the council pickup. But it was a classical guitar, not a steel string.
Take it back.
Yeah, but I actually gave it away to an 11-year-old kid, because I think that she would be better than me. And now she's not playing it. But anyway, my point is that, you, as a parent, you just want to pass everything on to, I guess, the person with more potential, don't you? Which is the child. And also just spending time with your family. That's what they need. And that's where the seeds need to be planted. Like, we're done in a way, we've been harvested. This is as good as we're going to get. So, we want to pass things on, and I suppose, give out good energy and to the people that deserve it, which is our families.
And we've talked about that, about the time that we spend with our family and kids is the time that you'll never get back. And, that's what they remember. We've talked about that in other episodes about holidays and things like that. It doesn't matter where you go. It's, what you do and who you're with, sort of thing. I think that's been a common theme for us. And, but you're right. I mean, the guilt is real. Even when you, like you said, purchasing stuff, you tend to, like I'm a collector. Like, I like to collect stuff, like, my mindset. Like, so if I buy one thing and now it's part of it's part of a family of things, I have to get it. It's just in my makeup a little bit. And I find joy in that. Like, that's just something that I do. But I've had to, like, as I was younger, I had a little bit more money and, expendable money, sorry, and I'm probably not making more money, but I was able to, okay, I can collect that, and that's only X amount of dollars per month or week or whatever. But then as you get more and more and more into providing for a family, those collections, those things sort of dwindle. You stop collecting because you're like, well, I can't drop that kind of coin every month. So then you start collecting things that are worth less and worth less. Then all of a sudden, you're sort of collecting Matchbox cars or something, So it's a common sort of, I don't know, battle, I guess you've got to have. I know some people, you see people out there will, like, I won't wear, like I said, I mentioned clothes and stuff. I'll just buy anything from Kmart or Big W or whatever. It doesn't really bother me. I can't sort of justify dropping a lot of coin. Like, even when I was buying basketball shoes, which you require to play the sport, we're trying to find the cheapest ones, and it's not like I'm there, scrounging for every penny. It's just the fact that, okay, that money can be used elsewhere. I can buy the kids some shoes, or and I'll buy them the best ones.
Yeah.
It's part of being a parent, and it's not a whinge at all. It's just a matter of I guess, how often should we treat ourselves?
Yeah, I think that's the crux of the issue.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of parents, it's, do I deserve to treat myself?
Yeah.
And I think so many parents go through, I suppose it's like punishing themselves almost, because they've chosen this burden of having children. And look, I'm not using that word because I think it's so difficult. I'm deliberately using it because I want people to know that, hey, as we always think of this bundle of joy, and people are always talking about how wonderful things are as a parent, but being a single person without children is awesome too. And, every single parent, no matter who they are, let's just say they have their little fantasies about, oh, wow, imagine if I could do this.
Yeah.
That's not to say that we don't enjoy our time with you, our children, but we all would love to, sneak in that surf or whatever it is, and, buy those expensive basketball shoes. So it is a real thing, and it's important to acknowledge in order to be able to meet that need. So, Jarad, having said that, how do you meet your needs then as a parent, knowing that you've got all these obligations? Your kids are quite young. I've been through braces already, one set of braces for a child.
Yeah.
We've got more on the way. We've got heaps of orthodontic work. So right now, even though we've got no financial struggles, they're coming. I can see them on the horizon, that I'm going to have to pay for all of those things at some point. So how do you meet your needs?
I don't know about you, and I mean, this is just the way that I look at funds in general. When it comes to buying things, like if you need braces for your kids' teeth, or if you need, if they need to do extra stuff, extra training or extra tutoring or extra whatever it might be, you'll throw, like you said, $1,000, for example, for a guitar. You'll throw that $1,000 towards your child without even blinking an eye. But when it's like, $1,000 for a guitar, and you think, and it takes you 6 months to make your decision, and then you ultimately choose to buy it or don't buy it. Like it's quite a sort of stress on your mind, So obviously, your kids come first, and your family comes first, and that kind of money is for their health and for their future and all that sort of stuff. So you just throw that towards their development without even thinking. So I guess if you want to keep developing as a parent, as a father, and want to be happy, you've got to look at, like, okay, what can I throw? What money can I throw, or what can I throw towards myself? It doesn't always have to be money, but what can I throw towards myself to make me develop, like I'm trying to make my family or kids develop, and it's just a matter of finding that out. And I haven't got the answer. I haven't got the answer to it, because, like I said, I like to collect things and I like to do things, but I've drawn back on that, and I'd love to have, a spare little, run around car that I'm proud of and things like that, but we're not going to drop that kind of coin on that sort of stuff, because that's selfish is wrong, but that's an act for yourself, not your family.
I think we've used the word selfish a long time ago, Jarad, and I think the definition we came up with was, it's selfish when it starts affecting other people. Now, hypothetically, Jarad, if you got, massive pay bump, let's just say, you're making the money of a corporate lawyer or something, none of this would be considered selfish. You could buy a guitar every week and no one would bat an eyelid, except for maybe the guitar shop. They'd be like, this is kind of crazy. This is getting out of control. We're enjoying this guy's business, but this is a lot of guitars for one man. So, we're talking, how do you live your life without affecting other people as well? Especially when you've got so many obligations and responsibilities as a parent. And for me, when you talk about time with your family, it's different because I'm a homeschooling dad, which obviously means Eric is a homeschooling mum as well.
Yeah.
So I'm off at work, and she's essentially a mother 24/7. Of course, she's got her own life as well. But when I come home from work, I feel guilty that I'm not giving her a bit of extra time for herself. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say extra time. I mean, any time at all. Yeah. So I feel like I'm always on as well. I'm either working for the family to make money, or I'm coming home to relieve Erica of her duties. And I've got to do, housework and, of course, spending time with the kids, bit of education, that sort of thing as well. So there's a lot of obligations, and being a homeschooling dad, I'm not trying to say that, oh yeah, I've got it harder than you or anything, but for me, it's never ending.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel, we'll just sit on the couch here, mate, while I ask you these. But no, like honestly, and that can, with all respect, I mean that kind of lifestyle can cause a breaking point. Like so you've got to have rewards within that, which I think you do. But where we find those little rewards, whether they be time to ourselves or whether they be a little bit of a surf or whatever it might be, I think we've got to grab onto them. So we all have busy lifestyles, and we all have different lives. Like we all have different like calendars. Essentially, our days are all different, but ultimately we do the same. We wake up, we do our day, and we go to sleep.
Yeah.
But within that time frame, there's got to be something in there that you enjoy and want to keep doing. And of course, you wouldn't be doing that if you wouldn't be living your life like this if you didn't enjoy it. But, you've got to break that up, in my opinion, a little bit. There might be a time where, you might have to just go, look, once a fortnight, I'm just going to go for a surf or a run or a walk or whatever it might be. But I think everyone has to be a bit careful of just the constant grind, because I think that can wear away, because it is a grind,
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I do find that time. So I'm lucky in the mornings, I get up quite early just because of my cycle at work. I don't feel like breaking that. So I'm always up at 6 in the morning at least.
Yeah.
And that gives me time in the mornings to write, because that's my thing. I need to create, I need to express myself. This is part of it, this project with you. It's been fantastic. We're recording now very early on a Sunday morning. My kids aren't up yet. Yours are, but we squeeze in what we can when we can. And I think that's really it. And also it's about being proactive and not being a victim about it and going, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to do this. I'll never find the time for this. It's like, well, this is how many hours there are in a day. I'm going to carve out a little bit of this. Now, if I lived locally at the beach, it would be a lot easier to have a surf. And I could have snuck off this morning, but the amount of petrol I'd have to spend to drive out to the beach, surf, drive home, do my fatherly duties, and then drive back to that area to work, I feel like that's really inefficient. And that would be selfish because petrol's so expensive. So that's why I can only really tee it up when I'm already at work. I'm out there already. So it's kind of a free trip, if that makes sense. But look, I am very fulfilled in my life. And the benefit is I've got a really fantastic relationship with Erica. So if we were just, I suppose, if we were struggling in our own ways, it would be very difficult, really, really difficult. But we're each other's rock. So that makes it much easier.
And if you're lucky enough to have that, which I hope a lot of people do, is the fact that your partner does recognize that, hey, he needs a surf. I'm using surf as a thing, but hey, you go for a surf, or he needs to do whatever he needs to do, or you can recognize that of her and all that. So, hopefully it's a team. It comes down to being a team, obviously, as a parent. There's all these different situations out there, obviously, with single parents and other people raising kids and all that sort of thing. So I don't pretend to understand all that because it's not my situation. But the situation that I'm in and, we're sitting here talking about, I guess, if you can have an understanding partner, that really helps. And like I said, squeezing in these little time, like we could easily say, oh, we don't have time to do this podcast, because when you look at it, our schedules are full, right? Like I'll ring you and I'm like, when can you do this? And he's like, oh, I've got an hour here, got half an hour here. It's like at 6:30 in the morning. And we're like, okay, righto, we'll do that. And we've made it work. I suppose it's making the time that you have work to make you not feel selfish or guilty. I know that my kids aren't affected by me doing this, so I feel comfortable. We've talked about previously that we've actually had Elvin part of our show, the basketball that I play in the mornings and Saturdays sometimes, and it's like 6 a.m. start and I'm home by 8.
Yeah.
and the girls are having their breakfast. Like,
Yeah.
so they really haven't known that didn't know that I wasn't there, and I can still do the whole day. If I was doing that from 11 till 2 on a Saturday, I'd feel guilty. That's just me. I'd feel
Yeah.
guilty about that.
Yeah.
So that's perfectly designed for myself and other people in my position.
Yeah.
And it's just finding those time, that space to have your moments.
Geez, 11 till 2, that would be prime time, family time, isn't it? You can't do that.
I know, right? I know. Come home with like the best lunch and don't give it to them.
I was speaking to a much older man who described golf as a selfish sport. Now, he lived not on a golf course, but on a road with a golf course. Like, he could have just like walked next door and he was in the golf course.
I know.
He described it as a selfish sport because of how much time it takes away from all of your other duties. And I just think, I remember looking up a golf course and it said, you had to be, one of the etiquettes was playing at a good speed. It said you have to finish within 4 hours. I was thinking 4 hours. Ages. Yep. I couldn't imagine being away for that long.
That's right. I know. I've thought of that. Like, I actually, so my, I've got family members that play golf, and they've asked me to join. So I joined for a year, and I played a couple of games, but I struggled with that actual process of like, it's a 5-hour commitment that if you don't use it every week, you're not really using your membership. So can you imagine, at this time of our lives, being able just to give 5 hours a week to, yourself? Some would say that that's required. Some would say not. But I personally, that's the thing I struggled with, other than the fact that I was a really bad golfer. It's one of those sports where you hit one shot and you think, I'm really good. And then it takes 7 more shots to get another good shot. And then you're just about ready to throw your clubs in the lake. And then you hit one good shot. And then you're like, oh, I can keep playing. It just holds on to you that little bit. But in saying that, the time away was something that I have struggled with. And I didn't renew my membership because of that. Maybe later in my life when I've got a little bit more time. Yeah, possibly. But at the moment, it's just not feasible. I'd love to be able to, have that time, but there's only so much time in a week.
Exactly. That's why I try to think of the activities that I would like to do, and hopefully I can incorporate my kids into them as well. So something I'd really, really want to get into is scuba diving.
Yeah.
But to do scuba diving, firstly, it's expensive. Secondly, you've got to do your course to get certified. That's a long process. I mean, there's some that you can squeeze all into one weekend, but I can't. I don't have a weekend to spend on myself. So I'm really looking forward to the day when my eldest son is ready to start doing it with me, because then, to me, it's spending time with my family, but I'm doing a really cool activity as well. And that's why surfing has been really good, because the kids have started getting into it. Well, only on holidays, but hopefully, they'll get into it during the year. Yeah. Unfortunately, because of kids growing, I can't just go and buy them a wetsuit every year because they'll grow out of it. But for now, we'll surf in summer, and at least that's something I can do with the kids.
Yeah. I think that's the key, really, isn't it? Like at this point in our lives, like there'll be a point where the kids won't want us around. We're not cool enough for them, or they'll want us in smaller doses, and that's part of growing up. So that's probably when you can plan your surf on your own and things like that, and just cherish the moments that you're with your kids. If they do want to go scuba diving, and you've got that, as they grow older. But at this point in time, like, I suppose it rings in my ears the thought that, I don't know if I've said this previously, but it sticks out in my mind. I think I have said this before, but, one of my old neighbors said to me, like, cherish even if you're struggling with whatever's happening, just cherish this time, because there'll be a point where the kids, you'll never get that time where they're whinging about coming into your bed, or they're the noise in the house is just excruciatingly loud, but then there'll be a time where it's excruciatingly silent, and I think it's just a matter of just cherishing those moments and spending the time that you can with them, because, surfing will always be there. Collecting stuff will always be there. You can always buy a classical car. You can buy yourself a pair of shoes at some point. I think you just got to look at where you are in your life, and where I am and where you are. Don't want to talk for you, but is a point where we've just got to be a bit selfless and just give and give and give. We'll see. Just take the little wins, I guess. Take the time when you do get to, even if it is, that hour or whatever, take those as wins and take them as positives. And, if the time will come when you can devote a little bit more time to those other things, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure. And just going back to that, what you said about having noise in the house, nothing makes my mum happier than having a full house. When she's got the 3 grandkids there and they're just running amok, going crazy, playing with her makeup and all that sort of stuff. She loves it, especially when the dogs are there too. So I totally relate to what you said. And look, you used the term being selfless. I agree. But look, let's just look at filling our cup. How do we do that? For me, it's getting up early, having an opportunity to write. The last podcast we did, I said, as soon as we're finished, I'm going to go off and go for a jog. I did that. I felt fantastic afterwards. It's still early today. I'll do the same after this recording and fill my cup. I'll come back and it'll help me be a better parent because my needs have been met. I want to make sure that we get across the message that we're not saying you can't do anything for yourself and any sort of treat for you is a selfish act. We're not saying that at all. But, with limited resources, we do have to give it to our children. And of course, time is the scarcest thing that we have. And that needs to go to our children, I believe.
Oh, yeah, totally. And reiterating what you said, everyone is different with what they can give and what they can purchase and what they can, all that sort of stuff, because of their where they are in the world at the moment. Everyone's different. But where I sit and where you sit, by the sound of it, we've got to fill our cup, like you said, with the little, maybe via the drips, it's going to fill up eventually, but it's just a matter of just, doing it slow and steady. And some people can fill their cup up by turning the tap on full force, and they've got the ability to do that. So that's fine. That's fine. It's not wrong. We all have different circumstances. So it's whatever makes it work for you guys is right. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
And look, our kids need us at our best. So if you need that afternoon, whatever it is, to go off and do your thing, if that's, for example, it's like having to get major surgery. Some people need major surgery. That's just how it is. Some people are totally fine. Whatever you need to do it so that you're at your best for your children.
Sounds good to me.
Jarad, I hope that this podcast is making you feel it to your optimal best and that it's helping you be a better dad. It's certainly helping me.
No, it is definitely making my life a little bit brighter. So thank you.
And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us yet again. We love doing this with you. Please give us a like on Instagram, Twitter, all of our socials. I don't even know what we're on these days, but please share this with anyone who you think might get something out of it. And please join us again next time. Thanks, Jarad.
Thanks, mate. Bye.